Hey, what's going on, everybody? Alex with you here again. It's great to see everybody back. Thanks for tuning in. Having had so many different chess sets, starting from the price of $8 for a chess set all the way up to about 700, I can kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect, at least as far as my experience. Today's video is just going to be very informal. I'm not really going to be showing any chess sets, but if you are interested in any of the chess sets I'll be talking about, be sure to check out all the videos that I've already posted to kind of see how they compare. But let's just kind of talk about, the summary. What can you get for the price, and how does that compare to some of the other chess sets? So basically what I've run into is you can get a chess set, like chess pieces. And when I say chess set, I really mean just chess pieces. We're not even talking about the board or bags or anything like that. You can get a chess set, a plastic chess set, that can be as cheap as under $10. In fact, a lot of websites like US Chess or even House of Staunton, Chess House, they'll sell you academic sets in bulk. So sometimes you'll end up paying like somewhere $8 to $10 for a chess set. And especially in situations where you're buying a bunch of them for like a school, tournaments, or anything like that. As far as the quality of those chess sets, you're kind of going to be looking at plastic, not very refined. The seams are going to be visible pretty much right there. Those are chess sets meant for middle schools, elementary schools, maybe high schools. Just mass production of chess pieces altogether. Quality wise, not that good of a quality, but it's still playable. It's very practical. As far as weight, you're probably going to be looking at either like single weighted or maybe even unweighted plastic pieces, generally kind of on hollow inside, so not super expensive. Then as you get into the zone of like $10 to $20 for the chess pieces, you are going to start looking at slightly more refined. The seams of the plastic chess pieces are going to be less noticeable. Size-wise, you're looking at somewhere between 3.75 to 4.4 inches king. But that's generally because tournaments require certain size regulations. So, we're kind of getting in already with a pretty large set at a relatively small price. So $10 to $20 is going to give you like a single weighted, maybe double weighted chess sets, hollow, sometimes solid plastic. With still, you'll get some seams, not super detailed knights, and overall, kind of mass-produced sets. Now, as you get from like the $20 to the $35 range, you're probably going to start seeing more like triple-weighted plastic chess sets. Some still hollow, maybe solid. The seams are going to be a little bit more refined, a little bit less visible. You might start to get into some chess sets that are going to be a little bit more reflective, a little bit more polished. Past that point, getting into this sort of a $50 range, sometimes the $50 range is where you start getting into some combinations where you get a bag and a board. But generally, if you're just looking for plastic chess pieces, all the way up to like $50 is where you're going to start seeing some quad weighted, maybe even 5x weighted plastic chess pieces, solid. That's about the tops. Generally, about $50 is how much you would be paying for a good plastic chess set of tournament size 4.4 with fairly refined knights, and overall a very very pleasant chess set. So kind of breaking that apart, under $10. The video on the silicone chess pieces, that's about somewhere in that range. Not super expensive. Also the video on the Barnes & Noble chess set, the pieces themselves are of like the lower quality, so I would probably say those pieces would belong in the $10 or under category. As far as moving forward, I did a video on the quad weighted plastic chess set from eBay, and that one was priced at around $60 with a bag and a roll-up board. But I would probably say that If you look at the video that has a title of Quad Weighted and it has the picture of the what's in your chest bag, that was the one where I would probably say it's the highest quality plastic chest set that I've probably had, just because it was so well polished and the seams were barely visible and it was quad weighted. It was really a nice set overall. Past that point, $50 generally is the mark where if you're intending to spend anywhere between $50 to $100, you're generally going to be looking at combinations. Plastic pieces, bag, board, maybe even a clock. And all the dollars that we're talking about are US dollars. Now, as you get closer to $100, you might be getting into that $80 to $100. That's where you're gonna find those wood tech, spruce tech, the high polymer resin chest sets, and they are kind of the high end. You can think of them as a high end plastic. Even though the material from which they're made might not necessarily be exactly the same as other plastic chest pieces, but as far as where to categorize them, I would probably say high-end plastic chest pieces that are sort of in a separate category than your other plastic chest pieces, just because they do feel a little bit different. So they're kind of in their own category. It's sort of like a bridge between wooden chest sets and plastic chest sets. Okay, so moving on, as far as wooden chest pieces, now that's where it gets kind of a little bit different. So starting from around, depending on where you look, obviously, but starting from around maybe $80, you might start to see some wooden chest sets from some inexpensive woods that are probably going to be on the smaller side. So we're looking at kings being under 3.75, some of them well under 3.75 inches, with knights being somewhat rudimentary, but you can get a chest set for $80. That's going to be wood. That's still going to be fairly nice. If you've seen my video on best chest sets under $200, the very first chest video that I did, I would probably categorize that particular chest set as belonging to that category. Maybe somewhere $80 to $100. Smaller chest pieces, they call them library pieces, just because they're intended for smaller boards, but in reality they're really tiny. They were like well under 3.75 inch king, well under. Pawns are really small, so there's not a lot of wood material that's being used to build those chest sets, but they're still wood and they feel wood and they're playable. But in that category, my personal opinion is if you're going to spend $80, maybe you'd want to try to reach for something that's at least like 3.75. So moving on, you're getting into, that $100 range. At $100, you're still looking at fairly smaller size wooden chest sets made out of fairly basic, like boxwood, ebonized boxwood, or boxwood, golden rosewood, shisham, just sort of a more available wood materials out there, with knights not being super detailed, but depending on where you look, obviously, chess distributors like House of Staunton, maybe Chess Empire, Chess House, Staunton Castle, some of their prices are a little bit steeper. If you look at Chess Bazaar, you might be able to get something that's a little bit more affordable, but you just have to look around. The chess set that you see in front of us here, I've already done a review on it a long time ago. This is the Fisher Spassky chess set from Chess Bazaar. I purchased this particular chess set for $125. It's a 3.75 inch king, and I wanted to bring this up because this is a really, really nice little chess set. I'm gonna kind of pull this board up, and what you can see is I have my my wooden chessboard, but on top of it I have an older mousepad chessboard, and this is kind of what I wanted to show you guys today. This is a 3.75 inch king on a board that has squares that I believe are 2.3. I think it's a slightly unusual size, but the squares here I think are 2.3, maybe 2.25. I would probably guess it's a 2.25 inch because this is supposed to be a standard tournament board. If you have a standard tournament board of a 2.25, it feels to me like a 3.75 inch king height is good. Regardless of whether it's plastic, wooden, I feel like it sits well because a 3.75 inch king, generally the base diameter fits nicely in on a 2.25 inch board. That is something that I've observed from all the different chess sets that I've have. If you want to get like a 4.4 inch king, like a bigger chess set, whether it's wood or plastic, be sure to check out like what the diameter of the bases are, because sometimes a 2.5 inch square board might be more suitable for a bigger chess set like that. So I had to cut the video off because at that time my wife and kids were just coming home. So let's just go ahead and take off from here. On this channel, you've probably seen me review quite a number of chess sets, and probably by this time you kind of get an idea that if you spend a little bit more money, you're more likely to get a better chess set, and for less money, you kind of get what you pay for. But in some situations, when we look at chess sets in general, it doesn't necessarily mean that the best chess set's always going to be the most expensive. Yeah, you could probably say that you're going to get something of a higher quality if you end up spending a little bit more money, but that kind of goes into what I'm trying to tie into this video, that in certain situations, one chess set may be a lot more suitable for the play that you're looking to get, as opposed to another chess set. So kind of give you guys an example, like let's say that you have a good old friend that you haven't seen in a while, and they contacted you and they wanted to kind of get together with you and play a game of chess again. What kind of chess set would you bring? What kind of chess set would I bring? I probably would bring something like a roll-up board, maybe a mouse pad roll-up board, and an inexpensive chess set. I have all the different varieties of chess sets that you guys have seen, and I have the option of getting the most expensive chess set, but that may or may not necessarily be the one that I would choose, just because whether you like it or not, the type of chess set that you bring, invariably will give off an impression, just like the type of clothing that you wear. Like I said, whether you're aware of it or not, it's still going to leave off some kind of impression. And I mean, furthermore, we do realize that depending on the type of chess set that you use, or like the type of combination chess set and chessboard that you use, will change the way that you perceive the game. If a chess set's like a wooden chessboard, and the pieces are high quality, expensive wooden chess pieces, that'll kind of make the game a certain way. If you feel like playing a chess game has nothing to do with the actual chess set, then try playing a chess set on a real board with real pieces versus playing it on the computer. It has a lot to do with how you perceive the game. Kind of goes to show you that it's all subjective. You in one situation you might want to bring out the best of what you have to play, but in other situations you might be like, no, I'd rather do this particular combo because that works better for me. Sometimes just having something that's super easy to carry, super easy to transport, and it's something that you enjoy playing on, may be the winner ultimately. My perfect size, and I've heard some other subscribers tell me this before, is that a lot of times they prefer to play with like a 3.75 or a 4-inch king height, and some people don't even prefer to go and do like the 4.4, because for a lot of their playing games and everything, whether it's blitz, rapid, or whatever, they prefer that slightly smaller size. So from what I've had, the 3.75 is going to be a lot more readily available as far as the sizes. 4 is kind of a little bit more unique, but you do see every once in a while chess sets where the king's 4 instead of like 4.4. Whether you're playing a classical game, a rapid game, or even maybe like a blitz game, if you get a really big board, for example, like a 2.5, 2.75, even a 3-inch square board, where the board's massive, yeah, you get a lot of space, and it's nice always to have a really large board, but you would have to also consider the fact that, like, when you're playing faster games, you still have to move the pieces all the way across. And when the board's ever so slightly smaller, it's easier to move the pieces because the distance that you have to traverse to move the pieces is going to be that much smaller. So a 2.25 is fairly like a good size, because a lot of people are so used to that size to play, pretty much most of the games. So as you get from the 100 to 150, like I said, you're going to be looking at predominantly like a 3.75-inch king with relatively decent amount of detail. Like, in the detail, when we talk about detail, we talk a lot about detail of the knight, obviously. So the chess sets a lot of times differ in how detailed the knight is. From what you've seen me review before, the chess sets that I have that fall into that category would be the Fischer-Spassky, also Zagreb, the Zagreb Elite chess set that I've reviewed a lot earlier. That was actually on sale. I think originally it was selling for somewhere close to maybe 300, but it was on sale for a while in the clearance section on House of Staunton for like 120, and that was one of the really nice chess sets that I've had for a while, just because the build quality was really nice. If you overlook the fact that the light pieces are actually kind of dark-ish, and then the dark pieces are, really dark, if you overlook that fact, it's a really, really wonderful little set. As you go further, like 150 to 200, you're probably going to start getting into more of like the larger size wooden chess sets, like a 4.4. If you're starting to get into the 4.4, you're likely to be still having the knights not super detailed, but at least the pieces are going to be a lot more robust. Also, depending on where you're looking at, for that price range, a lot of times you can get a really nice chess set on like a clearance section. And we're not even talking about imperfect chess sets. We're just talking about like clearance. You could probably, be able to, if you look hard enough, you'll be able to get a fairly nice chess set in that price range. Past the 200 point, probably from 200 until about 300, you're still, going to be in that 4.4-inch king. But as you get more towards the 300 range, you're going to start seeing chess sets that are going to be made out of possibly slightly better wood materials available. Maybe getting into like blood or bud rosewood. So you'll have a couple of different varieties, not just like golden rosewood, ebonized, boxwood. Unfortunately, you're not really going to be getting into like genuine ebony just yet. But you're still going to have a lot more variety as far as different woods, and the different wood materials are going to allow for a little bit more detail, because some like golden rosewood, for example, there's only so much detail that you can carve into the wood itself until you start to lose the detail, just because it may not necessarily be able to hold that detail in as readily as maybe some of the more dense, more expensive wood varieties. Obviously, if you get into like some of the higher end woods, those are going to be a little bit more dense. They're going to be able to hold that detail in, and as a result, they're going to be able to provide you with a lot higher detail. Same goes for boxwood, and I've mentioned this before again and again in a lot of my videos. I feel like boxwood, even though they always say boxwood is actually different for different chess sets. It's the boxwood that you get with a chess set that might cost you like $80. It's definitely not going to be the same exact boxwood that is made for like a forever collection chess set that sells for a couple of thousand. And you can see that even on the pictures. You don't even need to hold the pieces in hand to say, yeah, that's a different type of boxwood. Even go, for example, on House of Staunton and go to their most expensive chess sets. They have certain like collections that the boxwood looks just different. It looks more like a different color. That it's a different material altogether. So even though a lot of the light pieces here in the States are made out of boxwood, it's not all the same. So that's another thing to take into account. But as you get like when you're shopping around from somewhere between the 200 and the 300 range, you can really get a really decent chess set. As you get more towards the $300 range, you're probably start to see some varieties where there's going to be a lot more different like details, like the burnt chess sets. For example, the Dubrovnik burnt chess set that I think was around $320, but there's a lot more detail in it. And it's not a chess set that's mass produced. So for them to be able to make these chess sets and make them of higher quality, there's going to be a higher price tag on them. So that's another thing, is that if a particular chess set's mass produced, there's likely to be a lower price tag on it, as opposed to like a chess set that nobody ever buys, then it might end up costing you a little bit more. Some of the chess sets that I have that are within the 200 to 300 price range, the Cambridge Springs chess pieces that I have reviewed earlier on in this channel. If you want to go and watch that video, they are, they're not, I don't think they are 4.4 inch king, but you could definitely see that it's not like a stock produced chess set. That's the elegance of like the thinness of the necks of the pieces, and everything's been designed to have a certain style. So you could tell that the chess set's overall kind of a little bit more elaborate, a little bit more detailed. The Dubrovnik, like I said, the Dubrovnik burnt chess set that I have is about 320. Now, as you start to get more towards like the $500 range, that's when you're starting to transition more, where some of the chess sets that will be available for sale might not even be available in cheaper wood materials, just because, once again, kind of what I've mentioned before, there's certain pieces that might not be able to like hold the details. So in some of the less expensive varieties, you always have the option of upgrading to a higher wood and therefore getting a better quality set, but for a higher price tag. But in some of the more higher priced range, collectible chess pieces, the cheaper wood varieties might not even be available. Like, to be able to get that detail in the night to look a certain way, they might not even offer it in golden rosewood. They might straight up tell you that this particular chess set's only going to be available in genuine ebony. Okay, so some of the chess sets that I have that are kind of starting in that category, the 5, 6, even all the way up to like 700 maybe, would be like the Turin chess set that I did the review on, the Modena, the Poulsen series chess set. All of those are going to be like higher end. You could tell that more time has been taken to carve in the details. The pieces are heavier naturally. The bases are wider. All of those chess sets are 4.4 or larger. The knights are fairly robust in size, and you definitely would want to start to consider getting a larger board for chess pieces like that. Like a 2.5 would probably be a safe bet, unless otherwise indicated. Unfortunately, past the point of 600-700, I would have a hard time advising one way or another, because I've had a lot of people, they'll write and comment, they'll say, what do you think about this Forever Collection, $1,500 chess set, and how do you think it compares to, say, the Poulsen set? As far as the pinnacle of quality and like, definition, the Poulsen or like the Turin or the Modena that I've reviewed before is pretty much as far of the highest quality that I have experienced. It's not to say that there isn't higher quality chess sets, but to me, I wouldn't be able to advise one way or another. Hopefully, one day, if I am able to get my hands on more expensive chess sets, I could for sure tell you like, oh wow, this $1,500 chess set blows all of my chess sets out of the water. There's definitely a substantial difference in quality, enough to justify the price jump of 2 to 3 times. But as of yet, I really couldn't be able to give you guys that particular advice one way or another. But I'm sure there's some people, my subscribers too, that have chess sets that are more expensive,
that could chime in and say, yeah, you definitely get higher quality. I wouldn't know. Okay, so that's about it. And like I said, it really, it's very subjective as far as like what you used to play your games on. And in some situations, you'll say, yeah, I want to pull out that $1,000 chess set and play my games on it. But in other situations, you might say, no, I'd much rather take my cheaper chess set just because it's more suitable for this particular situation. And I would totally agree with that. Okay. Anyways, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I didn't really intend on showing a whole lot in this particular video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience, just because I've had some people ask and say, kind of, can you give a brief overview of like your overall experience with regards to like chess sets and prices and all that. So that's kind of my 5 cents for the day. Hopefully, if you are looking for a chess set, where I have provided you with these vague categories, maybe that would kind of help you in your search for a chess set. But if not, at least shoot a comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you think that some of these chess sets are overpriced? Do you think they're worth the money? Like what's your opinion about it? And as always, hit that like button and be sure to stay tuned until the next video, okay? Thanks guys for watching once again, and I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye bye.